House Bill HCR 2005. First of all, for those folks that may not be familiar with it, HCR stands for House Concurrent Resolution, and it could mean a variety of things. In this case, it means that if this bill is approved by the legislature, instead of going to the governor for approval, it goes to the people, and the people get to vote on whether it's a yes or a no. This English language education requirement has to do with the elimination of Proposition 203 that the voters approved in the year 2000. Just as a little bit of background, this Proposition 203 dictated that people who are learning English, primarily like school kids who are from other countries and are in this country and don't know English, they're trying to learn English. And what the proposition stated was that in order to do that, they need to have what is referred to as total immersion. That means that they have to attend the class which is in English with all the English-speaking kids. In other words, there's nothing to do with the language of origin, whether Spanish or Chinese or whatever. The only language spoken at that time would be English, and it is commonly referred to as total immersion into the language. People like me, who are the product of total immersion, when I was learning English as an immigrant to the United States, agree that this is the very best way to provide for an individual to learn a foreign language on a foreign land. And so Proposition 203 passed, and everything was fine regarding this. However, since the year 2000, for the last 20 years, the legislators have been trying to erode these provisions, and every year there is a bill of one sort or another that tries to do away with this. In other words, what they're trying to do here is basically do away with the English immersion for all intents and purposes, and have dual instruction, in order to instruct in English and in Spanish, actually just Spanish. Although I don't know why, if it's good for the Spanish-speaking kids, it should be good for the Chinese-speaking kids and the Korean and the Vietnamese and everybody else.
You'd think so, yeah.
Yeah, but they do it for the Spanish only, I guess because there's more of them. This is a very bad idea. The people who are supporting this either do not know what's the best way to learn a foreign language on a foreign land, or they have other motives. I don't know what the motive might be, but whatever it is, this bill needs to be killed, and killed dead, and maybe put a stake through the heart. If I know my legislators well enough, I'd say that there's a good chance that this monstrosity would pass the House Education Committee. And let's hope it does not. Let's hope that there's enough people out there that say no, so that this will not happen. But that's my take on it. And I don't know if, Archie, you have anything else to add to it.
Well, I mean, Jose, you had a situation in which you came in from another country and you had to learn a language from scratch. I didn't have that problem quite to the extent that you did. Of course, I grew up in Oklahoma, and they
that is a foreign country.
They considered that as a foreign country, at least as language was concerned, because most of the people didn't understand me, and I suppose they still don't. I object to this also, but I think I object to it on a totally different reason. And my totally different reason is that this is an amendment to the Arizona Constitution. And when you start dealing with amending our Constitution, you should do so with a large amount of skepticism. It is the English immersion thing came to us by virtue of an amendment to our Constitution, and it requires, now if you want to change that, then it requires this type of an action in order to change it back to where it was before the original 203. Now, in my humble opinion, we should not be using our Constitution to enact legislation. It should be done strictly at the legislative level. And it's going to create misunderstandings, it's going to create cost, it's going to create time. And I really think that we need to look at these resolutions and initiatives where we're going to be amending the Constitution very, very closely, and defeat any of them that is going to be amending our Constitution to the extent that we may not be sure where we want to go with this in the future. So,
yeah, well, I definitely agree with Archie on that. Overall, we should not. First of all, we should not be amending the Constitution with just a simple majority, no matter what. I mean, you know, the Constitution is supposed to be like the rudder guideline. It should be difficult to change. But anyway, regardless, it was changed in the year 2000 with Prop 203. If they get away with it, it will be changed again with a new proposition. And regardless of whether it's a good or a bad idea, we don't like the idea of changing the Constitution that easily. But even if we were in favor of changing the Constitution that easily, this is not a good thing to do to our Constitution.